Mike, have you ever ridden in a limousine?
A few times, for like various birthday parties and stuff. There was a trend in this country when I was younger, like you had a big birthday, you got a limousine. I have found it to not be as fancy as television and movies make it out to be.
One, none of my friends had birthdays that were that cool, ever. I've actually never been in one.
It's not cool. So this is the thing. You think it's cool. It's not cool. But yeah, anyway.
I'd probably just get car sick anyways.
I mean, the only type of limousine that I would want to be in is like one that has like a jacuzzi on the back, you know?
Yes.
Like that feels like a fun situation. But why are we talking about this?
Because today we are talking about the presidential state car, the vehicle that the American president rides when traveling by road.
All right, then. Well, this is very interesting. But just for the sake of time and convenience, can we shorten presidential state car to PSC for the sake of this conversation?
That works for me.
Great.
So let's start with some history before we get into the car used today by President Obama.
No. Hang on a second. Do I have to tell you something? Like, do you need... Okay, so we'll just move past that. Even though automobiles started appearing in the 1890s, it wasn't until 1901 that a sitting US president rode in one. That honor went to William McKinley. Seeing as he got assassinated 6 months into his second term, I'm glad that he had at least this honor in history.
6 years later, the Secret Service, which is the arm of the government, they're in charge of the president's security, purchased a white motor steam car to follow President Theodore Roosevelt's horse-drawn carriage. Old Teddy didn't want to ride in it because he enjoyed his image of, quote, a rough-riding horseman.
That's quite a brand you got to protect, I guess.
President William Howard Taft was the first to embrace the automobile. The White House stables were converted into a 4-car garage. One of these cars were steam-powered, which Taft enjoyed, as he could obscure press access while he was on the road with clouds of vapor that the cloud produced.
You had it here first. President Taft was a vapor. Warren G. Harding was the first president to use a car to drive to his inauguration and was the first president who was driver qualified. This program was quickly ended, however.
In fact, in 1936, Franklin D. Roosevelt bought a Ford Coupe and had it equipped with hand controls in direct violation of the Secret Service's rule that sitting presidents could not get behind the wheel of a car.
3 years later, Roosevelt received the first presidential car to be designed with Secret Service input, his 1939 Lincoln Motor Company V12 convertible named the Sunshine Special. Great name.
It really is. And there's a link to this in the show notes. You should go look at pictures of this thing. It is massive. This car had a 160-inch wheelbase, room for 10 passengers, rear doors that were hinged backwards, heavy-duty suspension, 2 side-mounted spare tires, because you don't want to be on the side of the road with the president, and standing platforms attached to the exterior to accommodate Secret Service agents.
Yeah. This is the car right here. There is nothing better than a suicide door. You know, the ones that open in the other direction. They are the coolest thing, but they're very impractical. But that isn't so much of a problem for the president, I don't think. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, the car saw the addition of armor plating, 1-inch thick bulletproof glass was added, flat-proof inner tubes, a radio transceiver, a siren, red warning lights, and a compartment for submachine guns were all equipped to the Sunshine Special. After this, the car weighed 9,300 pounds and was 6 feet longer than before. 6 feet is a lot. Like, it's a lot.
It's a lot of car.
That is a much, much bigger car.
Despite all of this engineering and all this safety equipment, Roosevelt preferred to ride with the top down during parades and at most public gatherings.
I have a lot of questions about how you fit submachine guns to a car. It sounds extremely James Bond.
It really does sound cool. In 1950, Harry Truman's administration took possession of 10 custom Lincolns that had been modified for safety and to accommodate the tall silk hats that were in fashion at the time.
Nice. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy accepted a modified dark blue 1961 Lincoln Continental that cost almost $200,000, which is equivalent to $1,637,862 in 2017 money. Dubbed the X100, this was the most advanced presidential car to date. It featured discrete flashing lights along with retractable standing platforms and handles for Secret Service agents. The X100 also had the ability to raise the rear seat to make the president more visible to passing motorists when the car was driven as a convertible. I think you can see where this is going. This was the way the car was being used on the day that JFK was assassinated.
This next bit was really surprising to me. The X100 was not put out of service after the assassination, but rather it was fortified with a bulletproof top that was never removed, flat-proof tires, and a bomb-proof fuel tank. Presidents Lyndon Johnson, Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, and Jimmy Carter all used the car until it was retired in 1977.
It was an expensive piece of automobile, I guess, right? Like it was equivalent of over $1 million. I guess just refit the thing. The 80s, the decade of presidential Cadillacs. In 1983, a heavily armored Cadillac Fleetwood was put to use. A few years later, a modified Lincoln Town Car.
Let's talk about more modern cars after this break.
Hey, make your next move with Squarespace. They're supporting this week's show. Squarespace lets you easily create a website for your next idea, and with the ability to grab a unique domain name, take advantage of beautiful award-winning templates, and so much more, you will see that Squarespace is the all-in-one platform. No matter what type of website you want to make, whether it's a store, a blog, a site for your business, or just about anything at all, Squarespace has all of the tools that you need. They have 24/7 support, and you can sign up for a free trial. Just go to squarespace.com, and when you sign up for a plan, use the code UNGENIUS for 10% off. Squarespace is nothing to install. There are no patches to worry about. There are no upgrades needed. They take care of all of that stuff for you. Squarespace plans start at just $12 a month, but you can get that 10% off when you use the code UNGENIUS at checkout. Squarespace. Make your next move. Make your next website.
In 2001, George W. Bush was the first president to have a fully custom presidential car. As the additional armor and amenities that were added to the state car by the Secret Service taxed previous presidential limousines beyond their limits, resulting in things like failing transmissions and short-lived brake systems.
Bush's car was designed from the ground up to meet Secret Service specifications by an R&D team at General Motors. It featured 5-inch thick armored doors and bulletproof glass so thick it blocked out parts of the light spectrum. The presidential state car was estimated to weigh approximately 14,000 pounds and was nicknamed the Beast.
The current presidential state car, or PSC, went into service on January 20th, 2009, and it is rumored that there may actually be as many as a dozen of these vehicles in service. Like Bush's car, it carries Cadillac branding, but is a completely custom-built vehicle.
Speculation is that the car currently weighs between 15 and 20,000 pounds, but the exact figure is classified. It rides on Goodyear tires often found on heavy-duty trucks.
The 8-inch thick doors are incredible. They have no keyholes. The way to open the passenger doors on the limousine is a secret only known to Secret Service agents. It has 5-inch thick bulletproof glass, and only the window at the driver's seat rolls down.
You have to do that knock, like the shaving a haircut, like that one, right?
And I'm sure that's what it is.
There you go. That's what it is. It also has run-flat tires and an interior which is hermetically sealed to protect the occupants from a chemical attack. But that's not all. The current car boasts rocket-propelled grenades, night vision optics, a tear gas cannon, onboard oxygen masks, an armored fuel tank filled with foam to prevent explosion, pump-action shotguns, and 2 pints of blood for the president.
That is awesome.
Obviously, that blood is in case they need it, not for refreshment or anything,
In case of emergency or vampires.
Yes. They're not kidding around with this thing.
So all this weight and all this equipment comes at a cost. Its top speed is only supposedly around 69 miles an hour.
Nice.
With single-digit gas mileage figures. It's the Beast, the name is fitting.
Public records show that General Motors has been awarded 3 contracts for a new limousine. Like the Obama-era car, it carries the same headlights and taillights as modern Cadillacs, but is a fully custom design, costing up to $1.5 million per piece.
That's not crazy considering what JFK's car costs, kind of in the same range here.
Yeah, it's about the same.
The new PSC is spotted in testing in the fall of 2017 and should be in service soon if it's not already. Again, all this stuff is classified, so people are just sort of watching them and trying to understand what's going on. We'd like to thank Thomas for the topic this week. This was way, way more interesting than I thought it would be. And a car with rocket-propelled grenades and tear gas and armored fuel tank filled with foam. Like, it's a pretty good toy.
Are we going to get one? Something like this? You're like a Relay FM state car?
Yeah. I mean, maybe. It's a little bit heavier than my Toyota Corolla, but, it would fit. It'd fit in the driveway. If you want to learn more about the presidential state car or the Sunshine Special or this new car that's being built, there are a bunch of links over on our website, relay.fm/ungenius/46. You can get in touch with us there. You can send us an email with feedback or with topic suggestions. Our topics come from you, the listeners. It's always fun to read what you guys are reading. You can find Mike on Twitter, though, IMYKE. You can find me there as ISMH. And you can follow the show at Ungeniused. Until our next submachine gun installation, Mike, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Adios.